This is a level 7. As of right now, we are at war.
Then I've been looking for this book for a while, but didn't want to pay a huge amount for it because truly I only liked it for the concept. I read it, wasn't a huge fan of it, but I love the cover. I love the idea of just someone going in and just ruining all of history, just for the fun of it. So had to pick up Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History #1 just to see what it was, and read through it. Again, wasn't a huge fan of it. It was funny. Definitely some interesting moments, like him and Silver Surfer. But again, wasn't in it for the value, wasn't in it for anything more than to see what it was. And just, this cover is really cool. The different eras of Iron Man, him just kind of chilling, just very interesting how he played that off. So that's one of those books that I saw for $1, and I was like, hey, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Again, love that cover more than anything else. Wasn't a huge fan of this series, and it was okay. I don't want to say that it sucked because it didn't. I just wasn't, for being a Spider-Man fan, it didn't catch my fancy. So, but I love this cover, and I didn't really care about the reading. I love the artwork alone by itself. So that's one of those books that I kind of picked up and just said, hey, let's grab it for the cover. It's $1. That's one of the nice things about these back issue sales is you get to help out your local comic shop. They clean out inventory, which makes them want to get more inventory. And then on top of that, they also want to, or you also want to get as many books as you possibly can, because the artwork and the storyline is just really fun to get into, and it's fun to get in at that price point. Another great way to do it is to get into comic books in the 50-cent bin when you're first getting involved. That's how I got a lot of my books for my students, just to introduce them and not really care about the material, not really care about the value of the book, but more care about the reading. So this is Civil War #1, and then also #2. So again, this was one of those books where I was like, you know what, I'm going to read this. I don't really care how much it's worth. I've always been curious about the Civil War series. These are the first two I've ever added to my collection, and I definitely want to finish off this series. So that was one of the reasons why I picked it up, and I also love the Civil War movie. This is Civil War II, The Oath #1. Again, not in it for the value, genuinely just curious about the storyline. And I love that cover too. The weighing of Captain America's options, so to speak. And Civil War II #2, #8, and then we're actually going to go back to the first Civil War, and #5. So these 3 books also part of that Civil War collection. Just trying to build it up, just read the books. Again, great content in them. Absolutely wanted to figure out what Civil War was all about. I didn't really want to get the trade. I wanted to read straight from the comics. That's just who I am. I totally got this for the cover. I had no idea what comic this was from. Did not care. It pretty much is the same reason why I have War of the Realms #3 with the Dark Elf on the front. Remind me of the name. Hela is an amazing character in Thor Ragnarok, and this artwork is just absolutely phenomenal top to bottom. And this is from Asgardians of the Galaxy #9, and again, did not care about what comic book run it was from, just I didn't. Beta Ray Bill has always been an interesting character to me. I always found it very curious. Definitely would love to see him in the MCU, but again, another character, another story that I bought mainly for the cover, and definitely to read, but not really into the whole Annihilation series. A lot of them that I've gotten into have been for the covers, and again, for $1 to read the comic, it's great reading material. And then Agents of Wakanda 5 and 6. Honestly, the fact that it's Black Panther #1, that's one of the reasons. That's the number one reason why I got this book. But the other reason was the Deadpool. Definitely a huge fan of Deadpool. Definitely love him on that cover. Just, I love that you can tell how pissed off Deadpool is, even though he has no facial expression. Same with Iron Man. It's very, very interesting, and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's amazing the way that Marvel kind of turns those facial expressions into something without you even needing to see their face. And that's one of the reasons why I love the Iron Man movies. You can tell what he's feeling without even really understanding what's going on. And that's also why I love this Deadpool cover, just because, again, no facial expression. The hearts kind of give it away, but at the same time, even if the hearts weren't there, you know what Deadpool's thinking, just because of the way that, just because of the character that he is. It kind of makes the character. Then I picked up this Captain Marvel 15. I already had a cover I already had a book of this, but this cover is just so interesting, so cool. It's kind of got that anime vibe in a way. Not saying that it is anime, so do not hate me for saying that, but definitely has that vibe. And again, my wife is a huge female hero fan, so truly, even though we already had this, I told her that she needed to get it, and I kind of lied to her and told her that we didn't have it so that we should pick up this cover, because this is an awesome cover. And last but not least, in part one of this video, is a book that I truly love. Huge fan of Rogue. I believe I already showed you my other Rogue comic that I got. Yes, I did. In the video I just posted not too long ago. Would you two quit it? Sorry. They're crazy. I don't know. I don't have another word to describe that. Doggo. You good? Watch this. So Maverick makes an appearance in the video, and so does Leia. Sorry, it's hard to focus. So I'm a huge fan of Rogue. Also a huge fan of Gambit. Wish that they would have put him in a movie. Definitely hoping that Marvel does now that they have the rights back, of course. I find this cover really cool. Definitely a huge old school X-Men fan, mainly of the artwork in the books. Definitely find them not the best reads. I'm not a huge X-Men comics fan, but I'm a huge X-Men artist fan, if that makes sense. So with all that being said, and also being a huge fan of Rogue, this lovely stack of comics, like I said, is simply part one of this video. And the cool part about this video series is that all of these books that I got were back issues for $1. And always be on the lookout for your local comic shops when they're doing stuff like that, because you can really find some gems, and you can definitely fill out your collection for stuff that you missed. I'm a new collector, so finding those gems that complete my collection or just kind of add little bits and pieces to it really helped me out in the end, because they're worth it. Even if just to complete a storyline, because I'm missing a few parts, it's truly worth it. So they're ridiculous, I swear to God. With all that being said, as we always say at the very end, while you are reading your comic book, whether it be DC Bombshells or Marvel, Marvel being the more likely, because typically Marvel is the more sought after. No offense, DC. But